Welcome to My MPN Life. This is Linda, and I'm doing this podcast about what it's like living with myeloproliferative neoplasm and just information about the whole thing. My background with myeloproliferative neoplasms is that in 2013 I got sick, was just having like weird symptoms, went to the doctor and they did a blood check, and the platelets and white cells were high, and so for the next month and a half I went every 2 weeks to get tested, and they were still high. And so in January of 2014, I went to see my hematologist oncologist. And he told me, he threw out a whole bunch of leukemia, lymphoma, or just a reaction to something. And so we did 2 years of testing, and a rheumatologist did testing and so many medications. And I got a wrong diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis, and then I was undiagnosed from that, I guess is how you would say it. Another rheumatologist was like, no, you don't have that. Your results aren't showing that at all. And so she gave me a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. And so then the hematologist was like, well, if you don't have rheumatoid arthritis, then you have what he called a myeloproliferative disorder, which it's now called myeloproliferative neoplasm. And the type that I have is essential thrombocythemia. And it's basically where the bone marrow just makes platelets, like all the time. I like to refer to the SNL segment where they do the more cowbell. Like that's what I think of whenever I think of MPNs. It's just, it makes so many, even though it doesn't need to. And so it's been, it's 2021 now. It's been 5 years since I got my official diagnosis. And I've been doing good. I've had, no symptoms. Not really, just the high counts. Maybe some, vision things, nothing too crazy. And then this year I've started having, I've had issues with my legs that have gotten worse. And then there might be something going on with my heart. So I figured that I would do this podcast because there doesn't seem to be a lot of information, or the information that is available, it's all basically the same. And then when you're reading it, it can be overwhelming, to say the least. So I figured maybe if you hear someone talking, it would be, I don't know, comforting in a way, because you're not alone. Oops, that's my car. Sorry. So my plan for the podcast is to do monthly or every 2 weeks to do an episode about the myeloproliferative neoplasms and the different types, the different mutations, and there's other things involved that as I was researching for more information on the podcast, I was like, okay, in the last 7 years I hadn't read anything about that. So there's going to be just a lot of information. And so I'll need time to research. But I'm also do updates, like medical wise, like after doctor's appointments, if listeners are interested in hearing those. And I don't know. We'll see how the podcast evolves. I also want to say that this podcast isn't meant for medical advice. If you are having any issues, like anything where you're kind of like, that's odd. Sorry, there's like a trash truck. If there's anything odd going on that's out of the ordinary, talk to your doctor. Don't wait. I'm horrible about waiting until when I finally see the doctor and she has like a page full of notes and is like, why didn't you see me sooner? So, again, this is medical information that I'm sharing, not medical advice. See your doctor. Okay? Right? Anything funky going on physically, mentally? Doctor. Not podcaster. Alright. Now that we got that covered. Okay. Hi. I wanted to add, before I publish this first episode, that, I'm recording these episodes while my older son is at behavioral therapy. He has 2 4-hour appointments every week, and he gives me time so that I can work on the podcast and not be interrupted by his younger brother. So if you hear like traffic noise, the beeping, I think there was one segment where like my finger went over the mic and it sounded weird. It's because I'm sitting in my car talking to my phone, talking to myself about this and hoping people listen.